These guys who were on the road, do you realise that I used to be one of them?
No, but that's the thing, it's this kind of like, they were all young people and they had seen the atrocities of Iraq, and the only way that they could express that was to, you know, speak out against the soldiers that were there. That's frightening. At the same time, they sincerely believe in what they're doing. Because the politics was spiritual for me. Do you see? That's the the good, and that's how I viewed life. Well, I don't particularly fit the profile of radical extremist because I was born and brought up in Yorkshire. My parents weren't religious. I went to, you know, a pretty good university, so I had no real cause to end up where I did. Let's give you a push. My initial introduction to the ideas was via my husband. When we were both quite young, I think we were both very idealistic, and we felt the pressures of the world and society and injustices. When we came across certain ideas from a group called Hizb ut-Tahrir in particular, we were really drawn towards their messages of peace and humanity to mankind in a religious framework, because we both were religious as well. There's this idea of an Islamic state that would take care of the affairs of the people, put an end to the injustices that were predominantly happening within the Muslim lands. There's a big tragedy of the 9/11 bombings of the Twin Towers, and I got a phone call from another HT friend, said go and put the TV on. And for all those people who didn't want to listen to us, for all those people who were thinking that we were crazy, I could say, now do you see what we're talking about? There's a clash of the Western society against the Islamic society. Yeah, when my daughter was small. What I'm doing now is trying to find a video diary when the 9/11 bombings happened. In that video, we've got my husband picking up my daughter and pretending to fly into the buildings. It's very disturbing and very upsetting. Because I was so obsessed with the idea of a Khilafah state and that being my main focus, I never linked that with death or bloodshed. And it's only after I did link it with death and bloodshed that I left completely. There was a whole lot of guilt that I felt that, oh, maybe, you know, am I being a bad Muslim because I no longer believe in a Khilafah state? But as I learnt more about Islam, as I, you know, explored different things, hardly anyone believes that that is the Islamic solution. It's just a political solution. There is no Islamic solution as such to the injustices of the world. You know, I'd been living in this small, tiny bubble, and the whole world was out there to explore, and I was going to do that. Hey! I want to help you.
I know.
Go on.
That we will not sit back and let our future and the future of our children and grandchildren be destroyed by ruthless and futile violence.
I grew up this side of the wall, which is the Shankill Road area of Belfast. It's the Protestant Unionist Loyalist side. I ended up then, as a Protestant, marrying a Catholic in 1972, which for us was a very, very scary thing to do, and we suffered because of it. We had to be very careful. My husband actually was nearly shot dead because he was a Catholic living in a Protestant area. And so we knew all of those risks. And when our children came along and we decided to bring them up Catholic, every time I brought them up to visit my relatives, I was always very fearful that they would say the wrong thing or somebody would have any indication that they were Catholic. So it certainly was not an easy thing to do, but on the other hand, it was the motivation I needed to get involved in politics and try to change things here. So a lot of the work I do now is with women in the community, encouraging women to talk to one another and talk about ways in which they see our society moving on and these peace walls actually coming down. This is where it all started. The first integrated primary school outside Belfast, bringing boys and girls, Catholic and Protestant, together to be educated together.
Number 7? Are you number 7?
So this is what it's all about, our children. Remember that 95% of children in Northern Ireland, Protestant and Catholic, are educated separately. We see bringing our children together at the earliest possible age, educating them together, is what the future's all about. And that's where we need to go. This is the City Hall here. The City Hall has always been famous for, as I said, sitting picnics on the lawns and that sort of thing. But all our vigils were held at the front here, and that's still any vigils I've been at recently, and I have been at a few. People get this idea that because you have a peace agreement, everything's sorted, whereas the peace agreement is really just the foundation, and you have to start and deal with the legacy of the past. And when you have 3,500 people dead, thousands upon thousands of people injured, and a whole society that has been affected in one way or another by the conflict over 30 years, it just doesn't go away overnight. I have met so many people, and I know so many people. And I always say to them, I always say to people when we meet them, still trying, because that's, people say, well, Anne, you say, yes, still trying. That's the motto. That's what's going to be on my gravestone. Still trying.